going to the coal mine down here. Rainy day, but we're going to be underground, so I think it'll be okay, unless the roof leaks. Okay, we're going to this coal mine down here. And then on to Lancaster down there in the Amish country. So Leah's sleeping in the back. See you later. Still heading for the mine. Rain's letting up a little bit. Okay, going through another little small town here before the mine. Right here is a real old graveyard there, you can tell. Old graves in there. Oh, bigger town than I thought would be here. Probably all from coal mining. Yeah, this is typically of a lot of eastern small older towns. The houses will have their porch right on the sidewalk. I mean, basically they have no lot. Sometimes the houses are just joined together, but the porch or the steps goes right into the sidewalks. Just kind of how they built them back then. Okay, we'll turn this off until I get to the mine. Well, I thought I'd check out a couple things here before they open up. I got some outside things here to look at. Get under cover here, it's still raining. Let's see, hours of operation, weekdays. Volunteers, good Memorial Day. Nice and quiet here. So there, walk down in there. It looks like where you get on the cars to go down in the mine. Oh yeah. Little electric pusher motor there. And there's the cars. And there's the mine down in there. Hello.
How you doing?
Good, I'm early. Just thought I'd check it out.
Pardon me?
I'm early. It starts at 10, right? Looks like some pumps there that you use, probably to pump the water that accumulates in the mine, I imagine. The Pioneer Tunnel. Anthracite's longest operating mine tour, 1962. There's a big old pump, there's a mine car. Looks like some coal in there. Boy, there's a chunk of coal. Yeah, I used to use this anthracite coal. I would buy it in a bag when I lived on a motorhome. Lived on a sailboat, and I had a little coal burning stove in there. That thing really burnt well, and low ash, very hard coal, burned hot. But I've always been kind of interested in anthracite coal. There's a chunk and a half. Wow. That burned for a month. And some more stuff in here, and then they got this little steam train back here that you can ride. I don't know if we're just going to do the mine or do that steam train, or kind of a wet, drizzly day, but the mine should be fairly dry. Say it's like 50 degrees year-round down there. We'll check out this little car here, though. Little steam locomotive. The Lehigh Valley Coal Company, Park Place Colliery. That's neat. Just kind of a shrunken up little locomotive. Very cool. Hey, there's Leah.
Hi.
We're gonna do the coal mine. You ready to go down underground?
Well, okay.
I know you don't like
Down the
caves
ground.
and stuff, but
That's okay. This is
see.
secure.
see if I can see both of us together. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
are.
I can see
Hey,
you.
that's Leah there.
That's me.
Hey, I'm down here. Okay, let's go do it.
Okay.
Okay, if I film in here? and stuff?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can take as many pictures or as much video as you want.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna get so hot.
Okay, here we are, and here's our tour guide.
How you doing?
What's your first name? Mark.
Mark,
I
yep.
seen it right there.
Yeah,
Very
right
good.
there.
Okay, you ready to go?
Where do we sit? Right here?
Yeah, you said go in this middle car here. You want that or?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Or you could throw it in a scrapbook or something.
Okay. Okay, here's the car.
All right.
Little pusher.
That's fine.
No smoking, no vaping. If you got beer, just share it with me. Okay. But other than that, just stay seated and keep your hands and arms inside the buggies because it does get a little bit tight in some areas of the mine in there. And if you hit a timber, you're gonna lose that battle. But
Yeah. These are
take all the
timbers.
video picture you want, ask all the questions you want, because I'm all yours today.
Very
Okay,
good.
this is nice.
Okay,
All right,
sounds
let's
good.
get in.
How old are these logs?
They replace them every so often.
Oh, is
Matter
that
of
why?
fact, this past season they replaced all of these. that
They
you
look
see.
pretty new,
But-
but no, you know.
But there's some in there that
Well, they
have been
cut
there
the
for
old.
60 years and that. You just
Yeah.
have to keep checking them and
Yeah.
that, you know. Once they start rotting, then you gotta change them.
I'm from a logging town.
So,
Oh,
So,
our
yeah,
our
on the
driver's
coast
back
and
there.
Here we go.
yeah, I always look for timbers.
Okay, thanks. Down in the mine we go. We made seated. Watch your head. Wow. What do you think? Down we go into the mine. Well, all their timbers are made out of logs. I thought they were more square, like railroad ties. I'll get one last together. Hey, there's Leah. There's Leah. Say hi, Leah. Yeah, we're getting the call there. Oh, we're back in here now. It's just like a New York road. Quite a ways back in here. Noisy though. We're the only ones on this. Like we're coming to a stop here. Wait, what? Oh, he's gonna show us this maybe right here.
Looks like our one on the top.
Oh, up in there.
See how my aim was.
Oh yeah.
Let's see where I have this park here. Oh, perfect. Okay, right where I wanted you.
Okay, good.
All right, so first things first, I want to thank you for coming out to visit us today.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Pioneer Tunnel Coal Mine, and this is in the town of Ashland, Pennsylvania. So the tunnel you guys are inside of right now, it was in fact an actual operational coal mine. Okay, originally we were owned and operated by the Philadelphia and Reading Coal and Iron Company, And we were in operation from the years 1911 to about 1931, when we then got shut down because of the Great Depression. Okay, so everything you're going to see today was dug between that time frame of 1911 and 1931. So when the mine was actually in operation, it employed around 35 men, 10 mules, and a handful of young kids. And every single day, with that limited amount of manpower, they were expected to mine at least 400 tons of coal out of here every single day. That is, yeah, it's a lot of material.
No kidding.
Now, the reason why I stopped us in this particular section of the mine is because of this hole in the wall right here, okay? So this hole in the wall, you see that black rock right there? If you want to shimmy up this way, you'll get a much better look at what I'm going to...
Oh, he'll take a picture.
Okay. So anyway, this right here, that black rock, that's actually a vein of coal. And what this is what we refer to as the mammoth vein, okay? The mammoth vein is actually the largest vein of anthracite coal anywhere on the entire planet. And in this spot, it's about 55 feet thick. It's going to start right here. That's what we call the bottom rock. And then it's going to go right up to around that first set of timbers right there. It's going to end at what we call the top rock. Okay? Now, like I said, in this spot, it's about 55 feet thick. But there's areas of the anthracite region where this vein will actually open up to be around 200 feet thick, which is, that is an extremely large vein of coal. Okay? Now, on top of that, these veins, the way they're orientated in the mountain here, so they're going to run east and west through the entire valley, okay? So they're going to go about 40 miles to the west of here, 40 miles to the east of here, okay? And this tunnel that we're in right now, it's called a rock tunnel. And basically, you're all in this area, you're always going to dig it in generally a north-south direction because the veins all run east and west. So as long as you're digging north-south, you're pretty much going to intersect every single vein of coal in the mountain. Now, something else you'll notice is that this vein, it's on a real steep angle. Okay, we call that the pitch of the coal vein.
About a 45.
So this is on about a 50 to 60 degree pitch, and it's going to follow that same pitch. It's going to go down about 2,000 feet deep down below us, where it basins out in the town of underneath the town of Ashland, and then it actually ends up resurfacing about 1.5 miles to the north of us in the little town of Centralia. Okay. Now, to go along with that, not only does this vein go down 2,000 feet, but it continues another 400 feet up above us where it outcrops from the surface of the mountain, because right now we're right about 400 feet underground. So, yeah, we're kind of deep down, so I hope these aren't claustrophobic or anything.
I'm trying not. No, we've got good walls. Yeah.
So, do you guys have any questions up here?
One question.
Yeah.
Well, if there's so much coal down here, why don't they mine it anymore? It's just economics?
So basically economics.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people ask the question, well, why did they shut this mine down to begin with?
Right.
And the answer to that is it's basically the same reason. Well, okay, so basically what happened was during the Great Depression, the price of coal was falling, okay? And the coal companies obviously didn't like that. So what did they do? Well, demand was going to stay the same, so they couldn't do anything there. So what they did was they cut the supply on purpose. So what they did was even mines that were producing and profitable, they closed them on purpose. So that way you cut the supply, but you still have the same demand. You can drive the price of coal right back
create
up.
their own
So
market.
It's a lot of supply and demand economics. It's basically what OPEC did to us back then.
You're right there. Yeah, they closed down the building.
But that's why they stopped mining this mine.
Oh, okay.
And then, as time goes on, more laws and regulations are added to the books. And it just, overall, it just makes underground anthracite not profitable enough. There is still a little bit of mining that occurs in this area, but the majority of it is all surface mining. Really, the only people that still do underground anthracite, they mostly do it out of tradition now. Like you're talking about 5th or 6th generation coal miners.
Right.
There's still I think there's about 3 or 4 operations that still operate underground. And believe it or not, they actually mine it the same way you're going to see later on. So yeah, it's all done by hand. The only advancements that they've really made have been, instead of using pick and shovel, now they can use pneumatic technology, so like air hammers and air chisels and stuff like that. So. And then obviously you don't need mules anymore because we have, electric buggies. So.
I don't know, the roads are still like.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back on the road again. Your roads around here are terrible.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, that's PennDOT for you.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm back on the road.
All right, but let me get you out of this drippy stuff, and I'll get you on lower down the tunnel. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks. You want to move up here?
No, I'm good. good back here.
Okay.
I got my little corner here. I know it's
Okay. I'll stay over here for filming. Here we go. Thanks. Down, down, down we go. West 7-foot gangway.
See that?
All right.
And they leave little trees.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you guys follow me down that tunnel right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Want me to get out
And
first?
we could go, we could go at your guys' pace. Okay.
Okay, give me your arm.
Like I said, we don't have any kind of time limit or anything today. We're good to go.
All right.
And there are benches every so often, so if you need to,
Okay.
sit down.
It's just the uneven ground. I should have got my stick.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Okay, so now we're just basically in the rock here.
Yeah. Oh, you guys chicken up.
Hey, here's a guy. It surprised me for a minute. I thought, oh, who's
Yeah, that's
that?
Can I
Larry.
touch?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, the drill.
So that there is a drill steel.
That is neat. Oh, wow.
Yep.
All the little holes.
So they so those for blasting or?
Yep, and I was just gonna explain that in a second.
Oh,
here.
okay.
So, like I was telling you before, that tunnel out there that we just came in on, that's a rock tunnel, or we could also refer to it as a drift because, it's the main entrance in and out of the mine. So,
Right.
Another way to think about it is that tunnel out there, it's kind of like an underground highway. Now, as you're driving your rock tunnel through the mountain, like I said before, you're going to encounter your veins of coal. And as you encounter those veins of coal in the mountain, obviously you want to follow them to mine them, right? So what do? Well, you're going to have to take a side street off your main highway, and that's kind of like what we're standing inside of right now. So this is one of the side streets. So this specific tunnel right here, this is what we refer to in the anthracite region as a gangway. Okay, now a gangway is going to follow a vein of coal, give you access to it so you can actually start to mine it. And that right there, that's the vein of coal that we were following in this particular gangway. Okay, so once again, it's going to start right there. That's the bottom rock. Okay, and then right up there where it ends, that's the top rock. Okay, and all this black material in between, that's our vein of coal. Now how we go about mining this stuff, that's what Larry's showing us, okay? So what he's got here, he's got a couple of drill steels, and what he's doing, he's drilling us a series of shot holes. He's drilling us a blast pattern, okay? Now once he's done drilling all those shot holes, he's gonna pack them full of dynamite or powder or whatever type of explosive he's using, then he's gonna set his fuses, okay? And then once those fuses are set, he's getting out of it, okay? Because obviously you don't wanna be standing here when the explosion
No,
goes off,
you'd be
right? Because that would not be very good.
No.
Now, even though Larry is down here in the gangway with us, this is not where this isn't where he would normally be. Okay, so about 90% of the actual mining that takes place down here doesn't actually happen in the gangway. It actually happens up above the gangway. Okay, so if you guys want to take a step right about here and you look up into the roof, you'll notice that there's a giant hole that goes up. And this hole right here, this is what we refer to as a chute. And there's a couple of these chutes throughout the gangway here. That takes you up to the working face of your coal seam, and that is where the vast majority of the mining is going to happen, is up inside that hole. Okay? So every single day, when we were working down here, me and Larry, we'd come off the rock tunnel into the gangway, and whoever the section boss was, they would assign us a chute to come work. Like, hey, Mark and Larry, you guys are going working number 7 chute today.
Wow.
So we'd take our tools, our shovels, our pickaxes, our dynamite, whatever we needed for that day's work, we'd climb up those timbers with it, kind of like a monkey, and that's where we'd be spending the next 12 hours of our day, is right up inside that hole.
And then the coal
So-
just rolling down through here or
Yes, yeah,
something.
that's a pretty good observation because what I was going to tell you next was Can you guess why the miners would dig up as opposed to down?
Well, because of gravity.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Right.
it was gravity. They always wanted to work with gravity.
Especially if you had a
never
car
against it.
sitting right here.
Exactly. Yep. So what they would do is they'd always dig up.
Oh, okay.
So they'd always initially they'd dig underneath what they want, and then they dig up to it. That way, you didn't have to waste the time or energy to try and hoist it back up.
Right.
So instead of digging down, they would dig up and let what they dug just naturally fall down to them. Okay.
Very good.
All right.
There's
now,
smart.
something people ask us quite a bit down here is, was there anything else down here other than the coal? And surprisingly, the answer to that question is yes. Okay, but unfortunately, it's not gold or jewels or diamonds or anything
Right.
like that. Because if it was, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be down in Tahiti sipping a mimosa or something like that. But what we do have is we have fossils. Okay, we have tons and tons of fossils.
Really?
And two of the fossils are right here. There's one right here. Okay, and there's another one right up there. Okay, those are old petrified trees.
Oh, the petrified trees
Right.
right in here. Oh,
Yeah, those are old petrified trees. Now, let's think about this for a second. What's coal made of?
well, like the plants.
Yeah, exactly. Dead plants, dead organic material, right? So it kind of begs the question: if coal's made of dead trees and dead dinosaurs and everything, how come those trees fossilized? How come they didn't turn into coal, right?
Yeah.
And the answer to that question is it's kind of surprising. So basically, they didn't chemically decompose enough, and they didn't experience near enough pressure or time. So they simply just got compressed and fossilized in the mineral-rich mud. So that's why those particular trees fossilized. So when you hear people talk about coal and they say it's dead trees and dead dinosaurs, they're sort of on the right track. But a better way to think about it is coal's more dinosaur poop than actual dinosaur.
I say yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because that organic material, it has to chemically decompose and break down. So basically what happens is, as all that organic mush dies, it decomposes and settles into a nice, thick, soupy organic mud. And over millions and millions of years, sediment collects on top of that organic one and basically just crushes it down and crushes it down and crushes it down till, you get a vein of coal. Now, geologically, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's good enough for today's.
Have they ever estimated how old the old petrified trees? There's got to be millions.
Yeah, they're about they're a little bit younger than the coal, and the coal's about 350 million years old.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, so they are they're quite a bit older than I am.
Me too. Even though I'm pretty old.
But
What's this
Yeah.
fuzzy stuff on this?
say it again.
This fuzzy stuff on this.
Oh, that fuzzy stuff. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's some kind of fungus or a type of mold
Yeah,
or
it's
something
like
like
fungus
that.
growing on the.
You might also notice that there's actually some plant life
Oh,
down
yeah,
there
sure,
too.
yeah.
Occasionally around the lights you might have a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
of
That's
plant life.
that's why they're turning green. You
Yeah.
have a little light there.
And
Yeah.
down here in the moisture, some of the logs are actually like sprouting. I think they're.
Like a mushroom type thing. You could grow mushrooms in
Yeah,
there.
it just
that's
goes to show you, life will find a way no matter what you
Yeah,
do.
that's
right?
true. Yeah.
You see these little trees come out of the
Rocks, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you guys want to poke around here a little bit, look.
Oh, look at this rail car here. Well, that's the end of the vein here or whatever, huh? Oh, that's cool. The end of the line.
Yeah. And then if you guys want to follow me back out this way, I got some more stuff to show you down here.
Okay.
Tunnels. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, just stop and ask whatever.
Will do. Sweet. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, take a picture.
Oh, that sign? Oh, that stuff.
Stuff. I don't know what it is. Oh,
Well-
here, flowers. Look at that.
Yeah, there is mushrooms here.
Wow.
So you got little mushrooms going right there.
Wow.
I
Never know
was
what I
going to
was.
say, I wouldn't eat them if I was.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if they're to kind of make you feel happy or make you feel crappy.
Yeah, or make you dead.
Yeah.
One or the other, yeah.
I was going to say, if you're really curious, I could turn on some Pink Floyd and we could go to Mars.
Right, there you go. You right?
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to head right up this way.
It's cool.
And then just, watch your steps as you're coming through here. Now it's kind of uneven.
Yeah.
I'll try to shine my light in the potholes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
Got it?
yeah.
Let me hold yours.
You got a rail here you could hang on to
Oh, I
here
do, yeah.
with a car, yeah.
That's
There you
better,
go.
and that's a more stable.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. We're gonna talk about what's inside this box here.
Oh, okay.
It has that uniform on.
All right. So, as I'm sure you can see, inside this box we have an old telephone. Okay. Now the reason why I'm showing you this old telephone is because, believe it or not, that's actually the original phone that we used in the mine when we were in operation
Oh,
way
really?
back when. Which means that not only is it original, but it is also well over 100 years old at this point in time. And another cool thing about this phone is that this thing still works.
Really?
Yeah, you want to see how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so the way you make it work is you take this handle right here and you follow the arrows. You just crank it. Okay, that would then generate electricity, which then you would use to talk into this little doohickey right here.
Oh, okay.
And then you can order your, your supreme double cheese, triple pepperoni pizza or whatever.
I think you were
want for
talking
lunch.
to that, and this would be the earpiece. If it's
yeah,
like the old phones, but
Yep.
yeah.
But even though that thing still works, we don't use it anymore.
Oh yeah, that's neat. It works. So
we
yeah.
have a much nicer phone right
Oh,
here. that
there
we
you go.
use
Yeah.
instead.
Still, that's not the
So that
box.
that connects up to your office up there,
Yeah, it connects to the
just in
office.
case you had a problem or something.
Yeah, pretty much. And then also inside the box here, we have this little fella.
Yeah,
Okay, cute. A little rat. Look at him.
Yeah.
You want to give him a kiss?
I see my share of rats, thank you.
Now,
Well, mice, I guess.
why do you think the miners would want to have rats down here with them?
They use them like the
Birds?
canaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they do like the-
yeah, because
Gases
they had
and stuff.
extremely good senses. So they were basically your best friends down here because of that.
what a good use of
And one of the things they could do for you was they could test your air quality, so they could test for potentially harmful or poisonous gas. And another thing that these rats could do, a lot of people don't realize this, is they could actually feel, very, very small vibrations in the ground. So they could actually act as an early warning system to a potential cave-in or a collapse that might happen down here.
They're
So,
that sensitive.
back in the day when me and Larry were actually working down here, we always would pack a little bit extra food every day. That way we could feed the rats and keep them around us because we knew, well, hey, if the rats weren't coming from my delicious tuna fish hoagie, or if they all just start running away, if the rat's running, I'm running.
Something's wrong. Something
Exactly.
up.
Right, I run
Yeah,
very well.
exactly. Now, just,
That's interesting that it still survived all that time.
yeah. But
That thing should.
there was actually another small animal down here that, you mentioned. And that little small animal was up here.
Oh, okay. So there
That
was.
is the ever so classic canary in a
Oh
coal
yeah,
mine.
there's the canary in
Yeah.
the coal mine.
They didn't know they had rats. I've always heard about birds.
Yeah, the canary. Yeah.
Now, just like the rats, the canaries, they had extremely good senses, but they were used specifically for gas detection because, their lungs were a little bit more sensitive, and they're in that nice, convenient little cage. So, but they could give you a bit better of an early warning that hey, you might be heading into some gnarly gases. Now, this picture right here, I want to talk
Yeah, I
about
was
this
looking
because it's
at
kind
that,
of
yeah.
cool. So, this is a really rough sketch of what this mine would look like if you would cut us out of the mountain and look at us from like a side view. So, this is the tunnel we're inside of right now. That's our
Okay.
drift, or that's our rock tunnel.
Right.
Okay, that's the entrance right there. That's about 1,800 feet to the north of us, down the tunnel that way. All right, and then you see all these different lines going down throughout the picture here? Those are actually all the different veins of coal we've passed through so far, okay?
Oh, wow.
So remember how I said as long as you're digging in about a north-south direction, you're going to intersect every single vein
Right.
of coal in the mountain here, okay?
Yeah.
Now this big one right there, that's the mammoth vein that we stopped at earlier, remember?
Right.
Now this kind of gives you a better idea of that real steep pitch that these veins all run on. And like I said, they're going to go down, they're going to basin out, and then they're going to resurface about 1.5 miles north of here, right?
Right.
Where he's listening to where it resurfaces at.
Yeah, in Ashland,
Uh,
the town.
So it goes underneath Ashland, and
Oh,
then it
and-
resurfaces Centralia.
Oh, it's in Australia.
I
Centralia.
remember Centralia.
Okay, yeah.
They have one
The-
there.
with the fire,
In
yeah.
Washington, they have a Centralia there.
Yeah.
Kind of
Now this tunnel looks like it's pretty level. That does it have a slope to it, or have a little slope? Then
So this mine in particular, there's a point about halfway where it kind of does like like it comes to a point almost. So
Humps
basically,
up,
that's
yeah.
to control the water. So
Oh.
about halfway through the tunnel, there's a point where the water will all drain out the front, and then whatever is on the other side of that point, the rest of it will actually drain down through here, and you'll see where it drains later on in the tour. But I want to tell you about Centralia a little bit because the choo-choo train isn't running today. Usually I don't really talk about Centralia because the guys in the choo-choo train give that tour.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm won't go into the details, but I'll give you, the basic.
Yeah, I was
rundown of it.
interested about that.
So
Yeah.
basically, back in 1962, the fire started, and what caused it was a trash fire. Okay, so basically every town around this area, what they would do with their trash is they would go to an old abandoned surface mine. We call them stripping pits around here. They just dump the garbage in, light it on fire to get rid of it, and that was pretty standard. Even for those day standards, it was pretty illegal. But every town around here did it, and nobody really cared. So Centralia, they decided to move their trash dump to a different stripping pit that year, and standard practice, right before Memorial Day, they went and they lit it to get rid of it, and fire company went up a couple days later to go put the trash fire out. And it was out for a little while, and then later that night, it ignited again, so they went back up. A couple days later, it ignited again, so they went back up. A couple days after that, it ignited again, so they went back up to put it out again. And then they realized, okay, well, let's just dig it out. And obviously the water we're spraying on it isn't making it down to the fire, so let's just, we'll dig it out and douse whatever's burning. And that's when they realized that, we lit a vein of coal on fire.
It goes way down there.
And they didn't really, and they didn't, so there was an exposed vein of coal still at the bottom of the stripping pit. So usually in a lot of the stripping pits, they fill up with a little bit of water.
Right.
So when you throw the trash in, the trash burns down to that water table, and then it just stops burning there because the water puts it out. But there was no water in that pit, so the exposed vein of coal at the bottom, it just caught on fire.
So it's getting oxygen somehow too.
Yeah,
through
well, and then so it's getting oxygen from all the other openings around the area. It's like because there's thousands upon thousands of these mines and tunnels and openings and everything, because there was so much mining in this area back in the day that you could cover over as many tunnels as you want, and there's still going to be more openings. So that fire is always going to, and then plus you got to figure, microscopic cracks and fissures in the rock that aren't airtight that can still draw in oxygen.
Right.
So that's basically how it started, and they didn't really worry about it at first, but then stuff started to happen. Like people started getting real sick because there was like CO and that kind of stuff rising up through their basements and everything. And then they realized, the fire's endangering the town. It's basically almost underneath the town. So then they hopped into action, but it was just
Too late.
too little, too late. They did try to stop it quite a few times, but like I said, it's just too little, too late.
So it could burn for 100 years or something.
About 300 years. It's
300 years.
about 300 years. It's going to keep burning for. But the vein of coal that's actually on fire. Do you just want to try and guess at how far away that is from us?
2 miles, 3 miles.
2 miles? Okay, that's a pretty good guess.
Well, you said Centralia was about 2 miles. That's why I guess.
Yeah, it's about a mile and a half away. So that was a pretty good guess. But the particular vein of coal that's actually on fire right now is actually right there. We're about to be inside of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're about to be inside of a burning vein of coal.
Whoa.
Yeah, you guys seem pretty excited about that.
That's funny.
Now, thankfully, the fire is never going to burn over to us. Okay, there's too many geological barriers in the way. There's too many faults and folds in the rock that it breaks the coal vein up just enough. It will never burn continuously through it. But even if it could, the fire would actually have to burn up over a mountain that looks a lot like this. It would have to burn up over a mountain where the coal vein doesn't exist anymore because of mining and 2 millions of years of erosion. So it's got no way to ever burn over this site. It's always going to be contained to the valley to the north of us.
Okay.
So. Thank God for that. We'll be safe.
So that's Ashland there, and then Centralia is kind of up the hill the other way.
Yeah, but the diagram would look basically the exact same for that other mountain.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Was the vein that got fired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, this vein right here, it just comes. It comes down. It comes underneath Ashland, and then it resurfaces, and then it would hop back over, and then start going back down again, and over where it starts going back down again, that's where the fire is.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're pretty safe over here.
Yeah, amazing.
Now, I want to go back to talking about another animal quick, and I want to introduce you to the third and final animal down here, but arguably this is the most important animal, and this here is Larry's cousin Steve, and if you want to come up and pet Steve, you're more than welcome to. Steve loves
there you
people.
go.
But here's the thing.
Looks a little like Francis the Mogul.
Now, I'll tell you what, Steve doesn't like people that call him by the wrong name, though.
Oh man, sorry,
Yeah,
man.
a lot of people make the mistake of calling Steve a horse or a donkey. Steve is not a horse or a donkey. Steve is a mule. Okay. So if you call him a mule, he'll let you pet him.
Well, go ahead and you can pet him.
Yeah, if you want
He
to.
might bite.
He's
No,
not gonna bite you.
I think he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
He's a nice mule.
He's already giving me the eye.
But he's so cute.
Look at those eyeballs.
There you go.
I think he's got a boogie in his nose.
Yeah, that's what, but he's got eyeballs that just.
Got a lot of equipment he's carrying
They
there.
had young kids in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
So like I was saying,
Oh, yeah, the
these
kid-
mules,
kid miners.
arguably they were the most important animals down here. Okay, and that's because, if you didn't have the mule, you didn't have the mine. This is where all of our coal production actually came from. If you didn't have the mule, you couldn't get any coal out of the mine. Okay. And what I mean by that is, well, yeah, a coal miner could shoot the coal and then shovel it up and fill up a coal buggy, but once that coal buggy was fully loaded, it's gonna weigh a lot. And by a lot, I'm talking like a few thousand pounds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was a heck of a lot of weight. And the coal miners couldn't really push that very far themselves, so they needed this incredibly strong and incredibly intelligent animal to come down here and do it for them.
Yeah.
So the mule transported the fully loaded coal buggies out of the mine. Okay. Now, something kind of interesting about these mules that I feel you should know is that in a lot of mines around here, the mules would never actually leave the mine. They would spend their entire lives down here underground, okay?
Really?
And that brings up a little bit of an interesting problem here. Didn't I just say the mule takes the coal out of the mine, right?
Yeah.
But then I said the mule never leaves the mine, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work, right? How would you get the coal out of the mine? Well, remember how I was saying there's a point about halfway through the tunnel where it kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's a spot where we actually came up a bit of a hill. Okay, it's about a 5 or 6 foot hill, and at the top of that hill, the mule would get stopped and unhitched from the coal buggy, and then a little kid around the age of 9 or 10 years old, like little Eddie right over there, he'd come up behind the
Eddie.
coal buggy and just give it a big old shove. And that shove was enough to to start getting it rolling down the hill. And then gravity took over. Okay, remember how I said the miners always worked with gravity? Well, here's
gravity
another,
too, yeah.
No, here's another example of that. They would let gravity take the coal buggy the rest of the way out of the mine. And there were a couple of reasons why they did that. One of the reasons was because these mules were incredibly, incredibly stubborn. As strong as they were twice as smart and almost 4 times as stubborn. What would happen a lot of times is when the mules would come out of the mine, they wouldn't want to come back in. And if the mule doesn't want to come back into the mine, it's not going to come back in.
They see
So-
daylight, like, oh man.
Yeah, exactly. So to stop that from happening, they just made the mule stay down here.
Oh.
Now, a different problem arose from that, and that was spending so much time underground, the mules would actually lose their resistance to bright light. So unfortunately, if you had them down here for that long enough period of time, and then you took them back out of the daylight, a lot of the mules would end up getting pretty bad eye damage or even going blind.
Oh, yeah.
So, for their own safety and self-protection, they kept them down here in the coal mine.
Wow.
Now, even though they did that, like I said, it was for their own self-protection. But on top of that, these animals were extremely, extremely important to the mines. And because of that, they were treated with the utmost respect. Like, if you were ever caught or even just accused of abusing one of these animals, you pretty much just got, instantly fired right on the spot. And then they pretty much just blacklisted you from the rest of the mines in the area. So, in this area, getting blacklisted from the mines, that was basically a death sentence.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
nothing else to do here,
Yeah, that's where she came from, Aberdeen. It's all lumber industry. Once it's shut down, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Or if you got fired, yeah.
Yeah, and word spreads like wildfire sometimes. So like if another operation hears that, hey, Joe Schmo abused a mule, he ain't working here. But guess what? He ain't working there ever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
Really damage something? He
Yeah.
carried a lot of equipment, a lot of.
Oh yeah,
harnesses and stuff.
those are all the harnesses and everything like that.
Hook up to the
we
cart,
used to
yeah.
have those on there, but obviously in these moist conditions, it kind of deteriorated
Oh,
them.
yeah.
So we just kind of had to pile them up there for now.
Yeah.
When the season starts picking up again, we'll put them back out. But just for the time being.
Right. But you see horses get less stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Now something kind of interesting here that I'll point out to you. So right there, you see that little number placard right
Yeah,
there?
yeah, I was looking at that.
I think that's 2009. So generally, every 25 years the timbers get replaced, and you don't do them all at the same time. You do them section by section.
Okay.
So like if you notice, some of these timbers look brand new, and that's because they basically are. Some of them got replaced a year ago. Some of them got replaced in this off season. But generally, about 25 years from whatever date is on that section of timber, that's when we're going to replace the timber, because the timber doesn't last forever. It usually lasts about anywhere from 50 to 60 years, but we replace it every 25 years just for, just
caution.
just a precaution.
Yeah, some of these are pretty good looking.
You need armor.
All right, yeah, I got
What's
some.
this, is this another trail that you?
Also,
Oh, yeah.
that's a track there.
That's a continuation of the rail. So,
okay.
there is track and rail beneath our feet right now, but we put this gravel down to like
Right.
Easy walking.
prevent it from being a tripping.
From you
falling
can
I
trip.
say
hazard.
tripping fall. I said,
Yeah.
okay, how come I didn't trip?
Yeah,
on
but
that?
this
You
whole
buried it
all these
pretty well.
tunnels would have been they all would have had track and rail.
They're this big, good.
All right, got some more stuff I want to show you down this way.
So, more built stronger than the donkey or?
Oh yeah, the mule can really.
You just want to take a walk down that tunnel.
That's why they.
That's where we hide the bodies.
Oh, it is.
Oh, good. I thought
Okay,
maybe
well,
that was what a commode was or something.
it's awful dark down in
We've
there.
seen a commode one time, one of these things.
Oh yeah, the little portable toilet thing.
So I want to talk about this ladder right here for a second as we're coming through this timbered section. So remember I showed you that chute, the other gangway? Okay, well this right here is another chute, and this is a better example of what a typical chute would look like. So you can see the whole anatomy of the chute right here.
Right.
So
That goes
This
way
right here-
up there.
You climb up and then go down.
yeah. Yeah,
Hard
so
to see,
basically
it's
when they
dark.
were driving these chutes, they usually drove them up a few hundred feet, anywhere from about 250 to about 300 feet. They'd usually drive them. This particular one, they actually drove it about 400 feet, so it actually broke up all the way to the surface.
Yeah,
So
it's
because of
way
that,
up
they
in there.
repurposed it as a secondary escapeway. And that's what we actually use it for today still. So if
Oh,
something were to ever happen down here that we couldn't get out the way we came in,
You gotta-
this is actually our back door. This is our escape route, okay? So-
It's gonna go too far.
Yeah. Don't worry, if your life depends on it, you'll get up there whether you like it or not.
Oh,
It goes
The
way
reason
up
why
there.
you can't see daylight up there is because it actually gets steeper the higher up you go. It actually gets to about almost vertical.
Wow.
And to give you an idea of how high this thing goes, you see that second light way high up there?
Yeah.
That's only about a third of the way up.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
Geez.
that's quite a.
So you
that's quite
pop
a
out on the
distance.
top of the mountain up there. Huh?
Yeah.
so this is barbed wire? I mean,
That's just rebar there.
rebar, so it's
Yeah.
very sturdy. It's not gonna.
Now,
those aluminum
realistically,
ladders-
back in the day, this ladder would not be here.
Really?
You would be climbing up those timbers.
Oh, okay.
And those timbers would be
pretty
your
steps.
ladder.
Yeah.
And that's because, the miners were basically charged for everything they used in the mine, so they just wouldn't build ladders to save a little bit of money.
No.
Like it wasn't really safe, but it was good enough to get the job done, and that's what
And
they
they
did.
were used to doing it, so
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
But your ladders must have came in later for safety.
That's why we have the ladder in this
Yeah,
one,
I
because
can see.
normally there would not be a ladder
Yeah,
there.
I could say
But,
that's a safety feature.
Yeah, but this gives you a good idea of the conditions that they would be working in. About 12 hours a day, you'd be up inside that chute, drilling and blasting away. And as you were drilling and blasting away, all the coal that you were blasting would be coming down here. It'd all be falling down here.
Oh,
And
that's-
if you come over to this side right here, so the majority of the coal that you shoot, it's going to get stuck up. So you see there's a timbered section up
Yeah.
there? That's what we call a battery. Okay, and most of the coal that you shoot is going to get stuck up inside that battery, and there's a door on that battery. So typically closer towards the end of the day, you're going to come back down. So that's when all your drilling and blasting is done, and you're going to come back down here into the chute and start filling up your coal buggies. So all the coal that's locked up in that battery, they're going to open up the door, and it's going to start filtering down here into the chute. And from the chute, that's when you're going to start filling up your coal buggy, and we'll see that process in a second here. But I want to point out this hole right here to you real quick as we're coming through here. So remember how we said all the water kind of just naturally gets drained down?
Oh,
It gets
right.
drained down to this point right here. So this is actually another chute that broke up to us from a lower level. There's actually two more levels to this mine. They weren't mined at the same time this level was. This is a much later level. The levels that are beneath us actually predate the Civil War.
Wow.
We're talking about I believe the first mining of this section of the mountain started in 1856 or 1857. So
Jeez.
very, very old workings down there. Basically what happened was when they were driving this gangway, they didn't realize this was here until they broke into it. So this was here before this gangway was.
So all the water just running down.
And then all the water just
So
drains
it's just
down
all
and
the way
then-
to the water table down.
Yep, just goes all the way down to the water table. The water table's about, I believe it's about 150 feet down. But this tunnel, when they were actually working this, this actually goes down about 900 feet.
Oh man.
Okay, so there's another level about 300 feet beneath us, and another level about 600 feet down. So yeah, so that goes down quite a ways. Yeah.
Cool.
Someone to work on boots.
Yeah.
So here is a better example of what filling up a coal buggy would look like, okay?
Oh, okay.
So remember how I said all that coal is going to come down into the chute section? Well, that's our chute right there, okay? And these two gentlemen right here, that's Curly and that's Mo, they're Steve's brothers, okay?
He needs a haircut.
So Mo, back here, he would actually be sitting closer to right about there. You see where that stick is poking up out of the coal?
Oh, right.
Okay, see that stick? That stick's attached to a door, and he's going to be operating that door, and he's just going to be lifting up and down, and up and down, and up and down. And that's basically just going to control how much coal is flowing into the buggy at any given time. Now his partner Curly here kind of looks like he's just sitting down taking a break, letting Mo do all the hard work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, he's not just sitting down taking a break, he's doing a pretty important job for us too. And what he's doing, if you focus on his feet here for a second, he's got one foot on the coal buggy and he's got his other foot inside of it.
Right.
Okay, and the reason being is he's actually using his feet to measure how full the coal buggy is. Okay, so he's using his feet, and you might be thinking, well, why is he using his feet? Can't he just see with his two perfectly good working eyes, right?
Right.
Well, if they were mining today, then yeah, they'd be able to see because we have the luxury of electricity.
Right.
But realistically, back in their day, it looked a little bit more like this down here. So yeah,
That'll be why you
You
had
cover up the
complete
screen
and
here,
total
yeah.
darkness.
so you'd have
Yeah.
that feet to
Oh.
measure.
Now
Yeah, we
they
should
did
get
have
it.
lights available to them at the time, but the lights that they used were just these tiny little oil wick lanterns,
Oh.
which they burned a type of I believe it was a whale tallow,
Oh.
some type of tallow,
Well,
and basically they gave off about as much light as a candlestick.
Yeah.
So realistically, these fellas would have been down here working
In the dark all
with the
day.
equivalent of a candle on their head.
Yeah.
And it would have looked a little bit more like this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, that would
So that is not much light at
No.
all. And you can kind of see why you have to use your feet to feel
Well,
how
yeah,
full the
'cause
coal
you could
buggy
feel
is.
it,
You know?
yeah.
Now, this brings up a good point here. Coal mining is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to figure, go back to where, be forgiven to think that, because it was an incredibly deadly and incredibly dangerous job. But unfortunately, it wasn't the most deadly job down there. There was an even more deadly job. And that was actually done by the young kids that were employed by the mine. And they were what was known as runners or spraggers, okay? And basically what that job was, excuse me a second, I gotta grab this stick here. Okay, so this is a sprag, okay? It's just a simple piece of wood, all right? And I'll explain what their job was. So you remember back in the mule barn, I said because the mules don't leave the mine, you have to push it down the hill and let gravity take over. Gravity does the rest of the work for you. Once gravity gets that coal buggy moving, it's just going to keep chugging right along, yeah. So you got to stop it, right? How do you stop it? This is your brakes.
That's your break.
This is your brakes. Now to put it in perspective, a little 10-year-old kid would be taking this, running up alongside one of these behemoths. This is a 4-ton coal buggy when it's fully loaded, okay? That is a heck of a lot of weight. And if that kid tripped and fell,
That's it.
cut him in
that-
half.
exactly. It was not a very fun experience, but it was a job that had to be done. And realistically, it was a job that only the kids could do because I'm a big fat guy and I can't get into those same tight areas that a small little kid could fit themselves into. So it was up to them to do that job. And to give an idea of the kind of target they were aiming for, there's a sprag in that wheel right there. So imagine a little 10-year-old trying to run to put a sprag in a wheel that size.
Okay. They kind of put it in the spokes of the wheel. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Whoa. That's dangerous work.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
what's going to
poking
happen is once they get into the spoke of the wheel's going to turn and catch on the frame of the buggy, and that's going to stop the wheel from spinning,
Wow.
and then that will ultimately, bring the coal buggy to a stop.
Man.
But yeah, that was an incredibly challenging job. And usually this is the point in the tour where I tell the kids that they should be happy that mom and dad only tell them to clean their rooms every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah, they're fortunate they're not running around.
Yeah, because no matter how bad your situation is, at least you're not working down here.
Yeah, you're not poking
Unless you
sticks
want some
in-
job applications. We are hiring.
Well, hey, yeah. I seen that on your website there.
If
That
you want
you're-
to come work for me.
yeah,
Now, you mentioned about the pay, right?
yeah.
Okay, so the pay, that's a whole other can of worms, and it's kind of an interesting story here. So, remember how I said they didn't really use ladders because the ladders would cost too much money to make?
Right.
And the miners got charged for everything they used in the mines to begin with. So,
That's
every timber, every shovel, every piece of dynamite, every blasting cap, every drill bit they used, it came out of their own pocket.
That's weird.
And there were a lot of times when the miners would actually go home owing the company money. But generally speaking, a normal day's wages could be about $1.75 a day for a full-fledged miner, not even a laborer or not even a young kid. But that's before the company takes its cut of the money. Yeah. And on top of that, even if you're lucky enough to bank a little bit of money up and keep a little bit of savings, it's no good anywhere because the company didn't pay you in real money. They only ever paid you in company script, and that company script you can only use it at the company store.
So that's where that song comes from.
Yeah, exactly. 16 tons. What do you get? Right?
Another day older. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and then you end up owing your soul to the company store.
Yeah.
So there's another tour mine around here in the little town of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I remember an old timer telling me a story about that. There was I believe it was either an uncle or a grandfather, but the guy got killed in a premature explosion, and there wasn't really much of him left. And basically, what the company did was the company put what was left in a hand woven basket, and put a we're sorry kind of card, and gave it to the family, and the family. One of them knocked over the basket, and on the bottom of the basket was, "Please return within 24 hours, or you will be charged for the basket."
Oh,
Oh my gosh. So they want the basket back.
They charged you for everything. Yeah.
Even when you're dead, you got charged.
yeah, I didn't realize
Exactly.
they charge you for the tools and
Exactly.
everything. That's just weird. So you're almost like working on commission or something.
Yeah.
You couldn't get ahead because, like you said, the money always
Yeah.
goes first.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing.
Hard work.
Yeah.
You don't realize hard
Different times, But that's the thing people don't realize is this stuff happened a lot more recently than you would think. Like those Sprague boys, they still had Sprague boys running up until about 70, 80 years ago. So some parents were probably definitely
And
alive.
they didn't figure out the brakes, how to do a brake on these.
No, so the technology wasn't really there, and it would have been way too expensive to put brakes on every single one of these. That's just another one of those things where the company didn't want to spend them. It wasn't.
stick in
It just wasn't profitable enough.
Oh, no, that'd be costly.
Right.
That would not be costly at all.
Wow.
Because the stick would be easier than
Yeah.
putting the brakes. That's expensive. Put brakes on this one.
Yeah, I never heard of that job. The Sprague guy.
That's an interesting thing. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So we've only seen small little coal piles, not the big.
Well, we see a lot of the mines out in Nevada, the silver and the gold and all that stuff.
That's right. But this was totally different world.
It is.
Yeah. This is different from any other coal mine you'll ever see, and that's because of the pitch that we're on.
Oh, okay.
So generally, like whenever you find a vein of coal, it's usually going to be in a nice flat laying seam. Like if you go anywhere else in the country, like out in western Pennsylvania or West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Wyoming, does their coal have a little bit of a pitch? Just a slight bit, but it's nowhere near this.
Yeah.
So because of that, if they have a vein that's thick enough, you could actually mechanize that and put heavy machinery
Right.
in there and you could start producing exponential amounts of coal. Whereas here, you can't drive a truck. Up
45
this.
degree angle or
Yeah,
something.
you
Yeah.
can't take a truck up that. Good luck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of this coal still has to be mined by hand if it's underground.
Right.
Like I said, there are still a couple of underground operations, but that's mostly just tradition at this point.
Oh, just
Wow.
keep it up, keep it going.
But that's about all I have. If you guys
Oh,
have
very
any other
good.
questions or anything,
No, I think
No,
you've
I'm
covered it
real
pretty well.
impressed. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I've enjoyed this one.
it's definitely an eye-opening
It
experience.
is.
Sure
Well,
is.
I've been able to see different things
Yeah.
that you
Well, back,
go-
you know, west where we live, you know, you always hear about the coal mines, but you know, never
Yeah,
see
yeah,
them.
you
Like I
never
say, we
see
just have some strip mines that are on the surface, that kind of thing for coal.
But I enjoy the layout and the trees and all the different stuff that's down here.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen all this stuff before. I was like, oh, this is, and like the kid, I never heard a story about the kids that little
Poking a stick in the smoke. I know.
Poor kids running.
That's weird.
How dark. And never the rats. I've never heard about rats. Birds. But not rats.
Yeah, the rats can serve the same way, I guess.
They're used for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you find a use for something, you might as well use it, right?
Yeah,
That's right, yeah. They're already down here. I know.
I'm not crazy about rats. It's just fun.
I don't know what the rats would eat down here when they're not. But probably find some little.
So that's the thing. The only reason the rats were down here was because the miners were actively feeding them.
Oh,
So
okay.
the only reason there's no rats down here today is because I'm just not down here feeding them.
Right. So they had their lunch and they have extra bread left over or something. They'd
Yeah.
like throw it
Well,
over.
but too, they had use out here too. But, yeah, I just amazing.
Yeah, it
These
is.
sheets remind me of longer sheets.
So that this kind of anthracite coal was it bad on their lungs like the black lung as the other type
Oh
of coal?
yeah, every coal mine they give you the black lung. You're never safe
Yeah.
from black lung in a coal mine.
Yeah. That got a lot of them, I guess. They didn't exactly have a retirement plan, probably.
You know, speaking about the black lung, there were never actually any deaths in this section of mine that we toured. Now, down below us there may have been, but there's no, I haven't seen any record of it. But this particular section, there were never any deaths in the mine. The only deaths that are ever related to the mine are actually cases of black lung.
Oh,
Yeah. But they died after the mine shut down.
Oh,
so-
right. It'd be years later when
Yeah.
that's what they have.
yeah, they didn't know about it, so they probably didn't wear masks back then and all that stuff. Probably been
Wear
too.
masks and sneeze.
The only thing good about working down here would be the temperature. Wouldn't be too hot in the summer. Other than that,
Yeah, in the summers it's beautiful. It's like natural air conditioning.
yeah, we went to some mines down in Nevada there, and the deeper you got, the hotter it got there. It's like really hot down there.
All right, you guys could
Okay,
get back on
load
the
up.
2-2 trail, get you on out of the line.
Sounds good. Well, you had a good tour there, and I'll
That's just my
see you.
temperature.
Okay, back out of the mine. Are you shaking?
Yeah, it's shaking.
Okay. We're going back up. Long ways down here. Tons and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt.
Thank you, don't you know? I don't know.
I sold my soul to the company, so I see daylight up there. Well, there's Leah.
Hi.
So, what do you think of that mine tour?
The mind you was very good, and talking to people was even better.
Yeah, it's fun. Afterwards, we talked to them for quite a while about their lives here, and met an amateur radio guy, and one guy working the coal mines for what, 30-some years or something. As a kid, he worked in there. Very interesting. You know a lot more about the mining industry that I knew.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go up to a little town a couple miles from here, Centralia. That's the town that's burning. The coal mine underneath is actually burning. I guess you can see steam come out some places. And they had to kind of mostly abandon the town because of that. I would go check that out real quick before we... And then we're going to head down to Lancaster and Amish country. Leah's going to have an Amish buffet.
Yes. Are you getting pictures of downtown?
Yeah, I got some before,
Okay.
but here, I'll turn the camera around
some
here.
of these are really neat looking.
Yeah. So this
They're
is
old, like this one right here. Look how old
this is
that
the main street of Ashland, and let's see, the houses and the businesses are kind of mixed together.
Wow.
Yeah, I think on this intersection here is that statue of the Whistler's mother. Yeah, right up there. It's
Oh
it.
yeah, that's your road.
We'll go down through here and just see what the rest of the old town is. A lot bigger town than I thought, but it's turn of the century, late 1800s, the turn of the century. Okay. I'll cut that off there. Okay. Let's see if I can find Leah there. Hey, there's Leah. We're going up to about a mile away from here. It's Centralia, Pennsylvania. It's the town that caught on fire back in 1962. Some people were throwing their trash down a mine and it caught on fire, and it's been burning ever since. It's like 60-something years. It's been burning, so we're just going to go up and kind of look at it here and see what we can see. One guy told us there at that coal mine, you can see certain places where steam's coming out or smoke's coming out of the ground. Haven't seen any yet, but we'll see what we can see. Let me flip this camera back around so you can see. Still raining today a little bit, starting to lighten up a hair. The sky is getting a little lighter. But it's cold down in that mine. Yeah, we had a real good trip in that mine, didn't we? Very informative people. And learned all kinds of stuff down there. And like I said before, we're going to head for Lancaster here shortly. And it's a Sunday, so not much is open there. But tomorrow we'll get Leah there. An Amish buffet.
Yes.
I'll watch her eat. And I wanted to see the Amish there. They have a thing there where you can see how they make those scooters. They have like these scooters they make, and how they make those those little wagons and things like that. That should be fun. We'll take back, switch that camera around again. We're coming into Centralia. Now the miner fellow told me when you come up to a four-way stop, that's the town. He said if you blink, you'll miss it. So let's see. Here's the four-way stop. So this is the town.
Right.
Yeah, we've arrived. Yeah, see right there. So apparently, you see all these blocks here on the map. There was a lot of houses here at one time, and there's nothing here. It's a ghost town,
I
right?
don't even see the mine or the fire.
I don't know, but see all these?
Yeah.
This used to all be houses and stuff in here.
Wow. Whoa, you
In fact, there's a few people. Yeah, you see the abandoned streets here and all that.
Wow.
Well, apparently when the fires burn, it's not just the fire that drove them out. It's the gases coming out of there. You know, you burn coal, you get some noxious gases coming out of the ground. So people are like, hey, I'm going to leave here. Yeah, all kinds of streets here. It was a nice little town. Looks like a town. Well, we'll see where we go from here. I'll turn the camera back on if we see any steam or smoke coming out of the ground.
Oh, the places you'll go.